Captain Jake Martinez stood on the bridge of Earth Defense Station Alpha, watching the morning sun rise over the Pacific Ocean far below. It was a peaceful Tuesday in 2157, and Jake was drinking his coffee when the alarm started screaming. "Sir, we have multiple contacts on long-range sensors," shouted Lieutenant Bob Turner from his station. "They're big, really big." Jake set down his coffee and walked to the main screen. What he saw made his blood run cold. 12 massive ships had appeared out of nowhere, floating silently in space above Earth. Each ship was at least 10 miles long, made of what looked like blue crystal that sparkled in the sunlight. "How did they get so close without us detecting them?" Jake asked. "I don't know, sir. They just appeared." 1 second space was empty. The next second they were there, Bob replied, his voice shaking. Jake grabbed the communications device. "This is Captain Martinez to Earth Command. We have unknown vessels in orbit, requesting immediate backup." General Pete Harrison's voice crackled through the speaker. "We see them too, Jake. Every space station and satellite is picking them up. What's their status?" Before Jake could answer, the alien ships began to move. They arranged themselves in a perfect circle around Earth, each one positioned exactly the same distance apart. It was like watching a dance performed by giants. "They're positioning themselves around the planet," Jake reported. "It looks like they're surrounding us." Dr. Lisa Thompson, the station's science officer, was studying her instruments with wide eyes. "Captain, I'm picking up energy readings like nothing I've ever seen. These ships are using technology far beyond anything we have." Suddenly, every communication device on the station began broadcasting the same message. The voice was strange, speaking perfect English, but with an odd musical quality that made it sound like someone singing. "People of Earth," the voice said, "we are the Zephyrian Empire. We have come to claim your world. Your primitive weapons cannot harm us. Your resistance is pointless. Surrender now, and your deaths will be quick." Jake felt his hands clench into fists. "Like hell we will." He opened a channel to all Earth Defense Forces. "This is Captain Martinez. All stations, prepare for battle. Target the largest ship and fire everything we have." The response was immediate. Every defense station, every military satellite, and every armed spacecraft began firing at once. Laser beams, missile trails, and energy blasts lit up the space around Earth like the biggest fireworks show ever created. For a moment, Jake felt hope. Surely nothing could survive that much firepower. But as the smoke and energy dispersed, the alien ships hung in space completely undamaged. The attacks had done nothing at all. "Direct hit on Target 1, reported Sergeant Nancy White from the weapons station. No damage detected. Their shields absorbed everything." The alien voice spoke again, and this time it sounded amused. "Your attack was noted. We are impressed by your spirit, but not by your weapons. We will now demonstrate our power." One of the alien ships fired a single beam of blue light at Defense Station Beta. The entire station, along with its crew of 300 people, simply vanished. 1 second, it was there. The next second, there was nothing but empty space. "Station. Beta is gone," whispered Bob, staring at his screen in shock. "They just erased it." Jake felt sick to his stomach, but he forced himself to stay calm. His crew was looking to him for orders, and panic would get them all killed. "All stations, fall back to minimum safe distance. Do not engage unless fired." "Upon," he commanded. Dr. Thompson was working frantically at her console. "Captain, I'm analyzing their communication signals. These aliens think very differently from us. Everything they do is precise, mathematical, logical. They expect us to surrender because that's what any logical species would do when faced with superior force. Well, They're about to learn the humans aren't always logical, Jake said grimly. General Harrison's voice came through the communicator again. Jake, I'm ordering all defense forces to withdraw to Earth. We can't fight them in space, but maybe we can make things difficult for them on the ground. Sir, are we really going to let them land without a fight? Jake asked. We're going to. Be smart about this. Every military base, every government building, every important facility is being evacuated right now. When they land, they're going to find empty buildings and ghost towns. We're going underground, Jake. Way underground. As Jake watched, the alien ships began descending toward Earth's surface. They moved slowly, gracefully, like giant butterflies, landing on flowers. But Jake knew these butterflies brought death and slavery. Captain, incoming message from the aliens, reported Bob. The musical voice filled the bridge again. We will now begin landing operations. Prepare your leaders for surrender negotiations. Do not attempt to resist or hide. Our sensors can detect all life forms on your planet. Jake smiled grimly. Can they detect life forms underground? Really deep underground. Dr. Thompson checked her readings. Their scans seem to be focused on the surface and maybe a few 100 feet down. I don't think they're looking deeper than that. Good. Bob, send a message to all crew members. We're evacuating to the emergency bunkers. Nancy, prepare to destroy all sensitive equipment. We're not leaving anything useful for these bastards. As the crew worked to carry out his orders, Jake took one last look at the beautiful blue Earth below. The alien ships were landing in major cities around the world, their crystal hulls gleaming in the sunlight. The Zephyrians probably thought the war was already over. They were wrong. The real war was just beginning, and it will be fought by humans who were too stubborn to know when they were beaten. Jake smiled as he headed for the evacuation pods. The aliens wanted a logical, predictable enemy who would surrender when faced with superior force. Instead, they were about to meet humanity. 3 months had passed since the Zephyrian ships landed on Earth. Commander Amy Lewis walked through the main tunnel of Rocky Mountain Base, the largest underground shelter in North America. The tunnel stretched for miles, carved deep into solid rock and filled with thousands of people who refused to surrender. Amy stopped at a checkpoint where 2 guards stood watching the entrance. Any word from the surface teams? She asked. Lieutenant Sarah Brooks checked in an hour ago, replied Corporal Mike Johnson. She says the aliens are still setting up those big energy machines in Denver. They don't seem to know we're down here. Amy nodded. The Zephyrians had been busy for 3 months, building strange towers that sucked energy from the air and ground. They seemed to think all the humans had run away or died. They were wrong. Tell Sarah to be careful up there. We can't afford to lose our best scout, Amy said. She continued down the tunnel to the laboratory section, where Dr. Kevin Chun was, working on something important. Kevin had been studying pieces of alien technology that the surface teams had brought back from raids. Any progress? Amy asked as she entered the lab. Kevin looked up from a strange blue device that hummed with energy. I think I found something amazing. Look at this. He showed Amy a computer screen filled with complex patterns. The aliens use quantum computers that are incredibly smart. But they have one big problem. They can't handle random or crazy information. Watch this. Kevin typed some random numbers into the alien device. The blue humming sound became a screech, and the device started flashing red lights before shutting down completely. It can't process information that doesn't make sense, Kevin explained. The alien computers are so logical that they crash when they try to understand something truly random. Amy felt excitement growing in her chest. So if we fed them enough random information, we could shut down their entire system, Kevin finished. But we need to get close to their main computers to do it. Meanwhile, In another part of the base, Dr. Lisa Thompson was studying video recordings of the aliens themselves. She had been watching hours of footage taken by hidden cameras that the surface teams had placed around alien bases. "Commander, Lewis, you need to see this," Lisa called out. Amy walked over to Lisa's station where multiple screens showed Zephyrian soldiers walking around their bases. The aliens were tall and thin, with skin that looked like blue metal. They moved in perfect formation, never wasting a single step. "They're completely predictable," Lisa explained. "Every patrol follows the exact same route at the exact same time. They never change their patterns because they think they're perfectly efficient." Amy watched as a group of aliens walked past a hidden camera. Their movements were so precise they looked like robots. What happens if something unexpected occurs? Lisa pulled up another video. This footage shows what happened when a stray dog ran into one of their patrols. Look at their reaction. The aliens stopped completely when the dog appeared. They stood frozen for almost a minute, apparently trying to figure out what to do about an animal that wasn't following any logical pattern. Finally, they just walked around the dog and continued their patrol. They don't know how to handle unexpected situations, Amy realized. Exactly. They're used to fighting enemies that follow military rules and logical strategies. But humans, ... Humans are crazy, Amy finished with a smile. In the weapons development section, Sergeant Danny Williams was working on a new type of weapon. He had discovered that the aliens' energy shields were designed to stop high-tech weapons like lasers and plasma guns, but they couldn't stop simple physical objects. "Look at this," Danny said, showing Amy a crossbow. "I shot this arrow at a piece of alien shield technology. The arrow went right through like the shield wasn't even there." Amy picked up the crossbow and examined it. "So their super advanced shields can't stop a weapon that's thousands of years old." "That's right. Their shields are programmed to detect and stop energy weapons, but they don't recognize primitive weapons as threats. I've been making crossbows, slings, and even simple spears. The aliens won't know what hit them." Captain Rick Davis had been working on communication systems. He had figured out how to modify old radio equipment to work on frequencies that the aliens couldn't detect or jam. "I've got contact with resistance groups all over the world," Rick reported. "There are humans hiding underground on every continent. The aliens think they conquered Earth, but they only conquered the surface." Amy felt pride swelling in her heart. Humanity had not given up. They had gone underground and were preparing to fight back. What about the other resistance groups? Are they learning the same things we are? "Similar discoveries," Rick said. "A group in Australia found that loud music makes the aliens confused and clumsy. The team in Brazil discovered that the aliens can't see well in bright flashing lights. Everyone is finding different weaknesses." Lieutenant Sarah Brooks returned from her latest surface mission that evening. She was covered in dirt and looked exhausted, but she was smiling. "The aliens are getting frustrated," she reported to Amy. "I overheard them talking to their commanders. They're confused about why Earth isn't producing the resources they expected. They keep finding empty facilities and abandoned equipment. Do they suspect we're still here? They know some humans survived, but they think we're just scattered refugees hiding in caves. They have no idea we're organized and planning to fight back." Amy gathered her top officers for a meeting. Kevin brought his alien technology research. Lisa shared her behavioral studies. Danny displayed his primitive weapons. Rick had communication reports from around the world. "The aliens think they've won," Amy said. "They're using their standard conquest procedures because that's what worked on every other planet. But Earth isn't like other planets, and humans aren't like other species." She looked around the room at her team. "We're not going to try to match their technology. We're going to be unpredictable, crazy, and stubborn. We're going to fight them in ways they never imagined. Danny raised his crossbow, with weapons they can't defend against. Kevin held up the alien device, using their own technology against them in ways they never programmed for. Lisa pointed to her behavioral studies, doing things that their logical minds can't predict or understand. Rick smiled, and coordinating with resistance groups worldwide to hit them everywhere at once. Amy felt hope for the first time since the invasion began. The aliens had superior technology, but humans had something the Zephyrians had never encountered before: the ability to be completely, wonderfully, effectively crazy. The real war starts now, she declared. 6 months after the invasion began, Commander Amy Lewis stood in the command center watching screens that showed human forces getting ready for their first real attack. The time for hiding was over. Today, humanity would strike back. Dr. Kevin Chun sat at his computer station, putting the finishing touches on his masterpiece. He had spent weeks creating a special computer virus using patterns from human art, random music, and completely crazy mathematical equations that made no sense at all. The virus is ready, Kevin announced. I've loaded it with jazz music, abstract paintings, poetry that doesn't rhyme, and random number sequences. When the alien computers try to process this information, they'll crash completely. Amy nodded. How long will it take to spread through their systems? Once it gets into their network, maybe 30 minutes for a complete system failure. There, quantum computers will try so hard to understand the random data that they'll overload themselves. At the weapons station, Sergeant Danny Williams was loading crossbows and checking homemade explosives. His team had spent months making primitive weapons that could bypass alien shields. All teams are equipped with pre-tech weapons, Danny reported. Crossbows, slingshots, spears, and good old-fashioned knives. The aliens won't know what hit them. Colonel Frank Miller adjusted his leather armor and picked up a steel sword. His assault team looked like medieval knights, but Amy knew they were the most dangerous soldiers on Earth. My team is ready for the command center raid, Frank said. We'll go in quiet and fast. By the time the aliens realize we're there, it'll be too late. Lieutenant Sarah Brooks had been studying the alien base in Denver for weeks. She knew every patrol route, every guard position, and every weakness in their defenses. The aliens change their guard shift at exactly 14:30 every day, Sarah explained, pointing to a map. For exactly 3 minutes, the east entrance is unguarded. That's our window. Captain Rick Davis was coordinating with resistance groups around the world. His modified radio equipment buzzed with messages from underground fighters on every continent. Teams in London, Tokyo, Sydney, and Rio are all standing by, Rick reported. When we hit Denver, they'll attack their local alien bases at the same time. The aliens won't know where to focus their attention. Amy looked around at her team. They were about to attempt something that would either free Earth or get them all killed. But doing nothing wasn't an option. Remember, the aliens expect us to fight like soldiers following logical military tactics. Instead, we're going to be completely unpredictable. Use every trick, every crazy idea, every piece of human weirdness you can think of. The attack began at exactly 14:30. Sarah's team crept through the abandoned subway tunnels that led directly under the alien base. The Zephyrians had never bothered to check underground because their sensors were designed for surface threats. Frank's assault team emerged from manholes right in the middle of the alien compound. The Zephyrian guards turned toward them, raising their energy weapons, but the advanced alien guns couldn't lock onto targets carrying primitive weapons. For Earth, Frank shouted, swinging his sword at the nearest alien. The Zephyrian tried to activate his personal shield, but the energy barrier was designed to stop laser blasts and plasma bolts. Frank's steel blade passed through the shield like it wasn't there and struck the alien's armor. Danny's team used their crossbows to take down alien sentries from a distance. The wooden arrows flew silently through the air, completely invisible to the aliens' high-tech detection systems. Meanwhile, Kevin had connected his laptop to the alien communication array. His virus began spreading through the Zephyrian network like a digital wildfire. "Upload is complete," Kevin announced. "The virus is in their system." Within minutes, the results were obvious. Alien computer screens started flashing random colors. Their communication devices began playing Earth music at full volume. Security systems started opening and closing doors randomly. The Zephyrians in the command center stared at their malfunctioning equipment in complete confusion. Their logical minds couldn't understand what was happening. How could their perfect technology be failing? Engineer Kelly Williams had prepared a special surprise for this moment. She activated her chaos bombs, devices that filled the air with flashing lights, random sounds, and electromagnetic noise that overwhelmed alien-sensitive equipment. "Chaos bombs deployed," Kelly reported over the radio. The effect on the Zephyrians was immediate and dramatic. Their advanced sensors, designed to process precise data, were flooded with meaningless information. The aliens stumbled around like they were blind and deaf. Dr. Lisa Thompson watched the alien reactions through hidden cameras. "It's working perfectly. They can't function when their environment becomes unpredictable. They're completely helpless." Frank's team reached the main command center where 3 Zephyrian officers were frantically trying to restore their systems. The aliens looked up as the humans burst through the door, swords and spears ready. "Surrender now," Frank demanded, pointing his sword at the alien commander. The Zephyrian leader made a sound like musical notes played backwards. "This is impossible. Your weapons are primitive. Your tactics make no logical sense. How are you defeating our superior technology?" "Because we're human," Frank replied. "And humans don't always make sense." Around the world, similar attacks were taking place. In London, resistant fighters used bagpipes and drums to create sonic chaos that disabled alien equipment. In Tokyo, humans attacked with samurai swords and martial arts that the aliens couldn't predict or counter. The Zephyrians tried to coordinate a response, but their communication networks were filled with Kevin's virus. Instead of tactical information, their screens showed abstract art and played random music. Their quantum computers were stuck in endless loops trying to analyze human creativity. Amy received reports from around the globe. Denver Command Center secured. London base under human control. Tokyo facility captured. Sydney installation destroyed. For the first time since the invasion began, humans were winning battles against the aliens. Not through superior firepower or advanced technology, but through pure human unpredictability. The Zephyrian commander in Denver finally managed to send a distress signal to the mothership orbiting Earth. Request immediate support. Human resistance using incomprehensible tactics. Our systems are failing due to unknown attack methods. The response from the mothership was filled with confusion. Explain your situation. How are primitive humans defeating our technology? They fight with ancient weapons that bypass our shields. They use random data that crashes our computers. They coordinate attacks that follow no logical pattern. We cannot predict or counter their actions. Amy smiled as she listened to the intercepted alien communications. The Zephyrians were learning that humans were unlike any enemy they had ever faced. Earth's defenders didn't follow the rules of logical warfare. Phase 1 complete, Amy announced to her team. The aliens know we're here now, and they know we're not going to surrender. Time for Phase 2? The real war had finally begun, and humanity was proving that sometimes the best strategy was to have no strategy at all. 1 year after the invasion, Major Tony Garcia crouched in the ruins of Manhattan, watching alien patrol ships fly overhead. The Zephyrians still controlled most of the surface, but they were nervous now. Their perfect conquest had turned into a long, bloody war that they didn't understand. "Team leaders, report in," Tony whispered into his radio. "Red team in position," came the reply from Captain Susan Clark. She was hidden with 50 fighters in the old subway tunnels under Times Square. "Blue team ready," reported Lieutenant Paul Martinez. His group was waiting in the sewers beneath Central Park. "Green team standing by," said Sergeant Janet Cooper. From her position in an abandoned office building. Tony smiled. The aliens expected him to attack from the east, because that's what his fake radio messages had told them. Instead, his real attack would come from below and behind, using routes the aliens never thought to guard. "Dr. Murphy, are you ready with the special broadcast?" Tony asked. Dr. Rachel Murphy sat in a hidden radio station 20 miles away. She had spent months creating something the aliens had never encountered before: psychological warfare designed specifically for logical minds. "Broadcasting now," Rachel replied. A transmission went out on all frequencies that the Zephyrians monitored. But instead of normal human communication, she broadcast carefully designed paradoxes, impossible riddles, and contradictory statements that made no logical sense. If this statement is false, then it must be true. But if it's true, then it must be false, Rachel's voice said over the alien communication network. In the Zephyrian command center, the alien officers stopped what they were doing. Their logical minds tried to process Rachel's words, but the paradox created an endless loop in their thinking. "What does this mean?" asked the alien commander, holding his head as if it hurt. "It cannot mean anything and everything at the same time," replied his lieutenant, looking confused and dizzy. "But if it means nothing, then it must mean something, which means it means nothing," said another alien, sitting down heavily. The entire alien command staff became trapped, trying to solve impossible puzzles while Rachel continued her broadcast. They couldn't focus on anything else while their minds struggled with the logical impossibilities. Tony saw his chance. "All teams, move now." The attack on New York began like nothing the aliens had ever seen. Susan's team burst out of subway grates in the middle of Times Square, using kazoos, air horns, and disco balls to create a chaos of sound and flashing lights. The Zephyrian patrol ships immediately tried to target the humans, but their sensors couldn't function properly in the sensory overload. The aliens could barely see or hear anything through the noise and lights. Paul's team attacked from Central Park, using trained dogs, smoke bombs, and fireworks. The aliens' logical minds couldn't understand why humans would bring animals into battle or use weapons that seemed designed for celebration rather than war. Janet's team rappelled down from skyscrapers while playing loud rock music and wearing bright costumes that hurt the aliens' sensitive eyes. The Zephyrians tried to shoot at them, but they couldn't predict where the humans would move next because the humans were dancing while they fought. "What is their strategy?" demanded the alien field commander. "Why are they using celebration devices as weapons? Why are they dancing during combat?" "I do not understand, sir," replied his aide. "Perhaps dancing is a form of human battle meditation. But why are they so loud? And why do their clothes have so many colors? This makes no tactical sense." Tony led his personal team straight at the main alien stronghold in downtown Manhattan. His fighters carried boomboxes playing different types of music at maximum volume. Jazz mixed with heavy metal, mixed with classical, mixed with electronic, dance music. The result was beautiful chaos that the aliens couldn't process. Their audio sensors overloaded, their tactical computers crashed, and their commanders couldn't think clearly enough to give orders. "Surrender your position," Tony shouted at the alien guards, swinging a baseball bat decorated with Christmas. Lights. The aliens tried to raise their energy weapons, but Tony's team threw paint balloons that splattered bright colors all over the alien equipment. The sensors couldn't function when covered in pink and orange paint. Meanwhile, Captain Steve Johnson was leading a special mission in New Jersey. His team had captured a Zephyrian officer during the battle and were taking him back to the underground base for questioning. The alien prisoner was named Commander 69947, and he was completely bewildered by everything that had happened. Steve had his team interrogate the alien using techniques that Dr. Lisa Thompson had developed. Why do humans fight with such chaos? Steve asked the alien. Your tactics are impossible to predict. ZYX9947 replied, his voice sounding like musical instruments playing sad songs. We have conquered 47 worlds. Every species surrendered when faced with superior force, or they fought using logical military strategies that we could counter. But humans are different. Humans fight with celebration weapons and dancing and impossible sounds. Your computers send us art instead of battle plans. Your soldiers wear bright colors that serve no protective purpose. Nothing you do follows any logical pattern. Steve leaned forward. Is that a problem for your people? The alien made a sound like wind chimes in a storm. Our entire empire is built on logic and efficiency. When we cannot predict enemy actions, we cannot plan responses. When we cannot understand enemy goals, we cannot develop counter-strategies. So, what happens when you can't win a war quickly? ZYX9947 looked uncomfortable. That has never happened before. But there are political problems. The High Council expected Earth to be conquered in 3 standard time units. It has been 12 time units, and we still do not control this world. Steve felt excitement building. Political problems? Other worlds in our empire are asking questions. If humans can resist us, perhaps they can resist us too. The High Council is displeased with our performance here. Back in Manhattan, Tony's assault was succeeding beyond his wildest dreams. His teams had captured 3 alien strongholds using nothing but noise, lights, paint, and complete unpredictability. The Zephyrian forces were retreating toward their landing ships, completely unable to cope with human tactics that made no logical sense. Their advanced technology was useless against enemies who turned celebrations into weapons and treated combat like a dance party. Tony received radio reports from around the world. Human forces were winning battles on every continent using similar tactics. In Paris, resistant fighters used street musicians and amateur theater groups to confuse alien patrols. In Cairo, humans attacked with belly dancers and professional comedians who told jokes that made no sense to logical alien minds. The tide of war was turning. The Zephyrians still had superior technology, but they were facing an enemy that fought with pure human creativity and chaos. Every day brought new human victories as people discovered more ways to use their natural unpredictability as a weapon. As Tony watched another alien ship flee toward orbit, he realized that humanity had found something more powerful than any advanced technology. They found a way to weaponize the very thing that made them human. The beautiful, wonderful, effective craziness. The aliens wanted a logical war. Instead, they got humanity, and humanity was winning. 2 years after the first alien ships appeared, General Pete Harrison emerged from his underground bunker for the first time since the invasion began. Today was the day humanity would launch Operation Freefall, the final attack that would either free Earth or destroy it completely. The general looked older and more tired, but his eyes burned with determination. Around him, thousands of human fighters prepared for battle. They carried crossbows and swords alongside captured alien weapons. Some wore bright carnival costumes. Others had painted their faces like circus clowns. To any logical observer, they looked completely insane. "Today, we take back our world," Pete announced over the global communication network that Captain Rick Davis had built. "Every resistance group, every hidden fighter, every human who refuses to surrender. This is our moment." Dr. Kevin Chun sat at the central computer station, his fingers dancing over multiple keyboards. For months, he had been preparing the ultimate computer virus, a digital weapon made from the purest chaos of human creativity. "The megavirus is ready," Kevin reported. "I've loaded it with everything that makes humans human. Jazz music, abstract art, love poems, comedy shows, children's laughter, and completely random mathematical sequences. When this hits their quantum computers, their entire fleet will shut down." Commander Amy Lewis coordinated the ground assault teams through her tactical display. Red dots representing human forces appeared all around the globe, ready to strike simultaneously at every alien position. "All teams confirm ready status," Amy announced. "London, Paris, Tokyo, Sydney, Rio, Cairo, Moscow, and 50 other cities are standing by. When we hit the mothership, every alien base on Earth gets attacked at the same time." High above Earth, Commander Amy Lewis led the assault on the primary Zephyrian mothership. Her team used captured alien shuttles that had been modified with human chaos technology. The shuttles were filled with disco balls, strobe lights, loudspeakers, and paint cannons. "Approaching the mothership now," Amy reported as her shuttle flew toward the massive crystal vessel. Beginning chaos deployment. The human shuttles opened their cargo bays and released thousands of metallic spheres into space around the alien ship. Each sphere contained speakers playing different types of Earth music, lights flashing in random patterns, and transmitters broadcasting human art and poetry. The effect on the mothership was immediate. The Zephyrian crew, who were used to the quiet precision of space travel, suddenly found themselves surrounded by an explosion of sound, light, and incomprehensible human culture. "What is happening?" demanded the Zephyrian fleet commander as his bridge filled with the sound of rock music, classical symphonies, and children singing nursery rhymes all at the same time. "Unknown objects are broadcasting data that our computers cannot process," replied his tactical officer, holding his head in confusion. "Our sensors are overloading from the sensory input." Kevin's virus chose that moment to strike. It entered the mothership's computer network through their communication systems and spread like wildfire through every quantum processor on the ship. The alien computers tried to analyze a Jackson Pollock painting, decode the lyrics to a nonsense song, and calculate the mathematical probability of a joke being funny all at the same time. The logical alien minds that designed these computers never imagined they would need to process such beautifully meaningless information. One by one, the ship's systems began failing. Navigation computers crashed while trying to plot a course based on abstract poetry. Weapon systems shut down when they encountered files full of random numbers. Life support began playing elevator music instead of regulating airflow. "All systems are malfunctioning," reported the alien engineer. "The virus appears to be made of ... of human creativity. Our computers cannot understand creativity." On Earth, the coordinated global attack began exactly as planned. In every major city, human forces emerged from underground, using every chaotic tactic they had learned over 2 years of resistance fighting. Major Tony Garcia led the assault on New York with an army of humans dressed as superheroes, circus performers, and historical characters. They attacked the alien strongholds while playing mariachi music and throwing confetti cannons. In London, fighters dressed as Shakespeare characters stormed alien positions while reciting random poetry and juggling flaming torches. In Tokyo, humans used karaoke machines and traditional drums to create sonic chaos that disabled alien equipment. The Zephyrians tried to coordinate a defense, but their communication networks were filled with Kevin's virus. Instead of tactical updates, their screens showed finger paintings made by human children and played recordings of people laughing at comedy shows. "We cannot maintain defensive positions," reported the alien ground commander to the mothership. "Human forces are attacking with weapons that should not work and tactics that make no logical sense. Our troops are confused and unable to respond effectively." The fleet commander stared at his malfunctioning screens in complete bewilderment. How is this possible? We have conquered dozens of worlds with these same strategies and technologies. Why can humans resist what no other species could? Dr. Rachel Murphy, still broadcasting from her hidden radio station, provided the answer through the alien communication system. Because you made one big mistake. You assumed that logical thinking was the most powerful force in the universe. But you never encountered human illogic, human creativity, human stubbornness, and human refusal to accept defeat. The Zephyrian fleet commander made a decision that no other conquered species had ever forced him to make. With his ship's systems failing, his ground forces retreating, and his logical mind unable to comprehend human tactics, he activated the emergency retreat protocol. "All Zephyrian forces, return to ships immediately," he broadcast. "We are abandoning this conquest. Earth is too dangerous." "Sir?" asked his confused tactical officer. "Too dangerous?" "But they only have primitive weapons and chaotic tactics." "Exactly," the fleet commander replied. "We cannot fight an enemy that weaponizes chaos itself. Prepare for immediate departure." Around the world, human fighters watched in amazement as alien ships began lifting off from every continent. The crystal vessels that had seemed so invincible 2 years ago now fled toward space like frightened animals. Amy Lewis guided her shuttle back to Earth as the massive mothership powered up its engines. Through her communication system, she heard the final Zephyrian transmission to their Empire headquarters. "Mission failure. Earth conquest abandoned. Warning to all Zephyrian forces. Humans are unpredictable, illogical, and extremely dangerous. Do not attempt contact or conquest. Mark this system as forbidden territory." General Pete Harrison stood on the surface of Earth for the first time in 2 years, watching the last alien ship disappear into the stars. Around him, humans emerged. From underground bunkers and hidden shelters, cheering and crying with joy. "We did it," Pete said quietly, hardly believing it himself. "We actually did it." Dr. Lisa Thompson joined him, watching the alien ships become distant points of light. "They never understood that our chaos isn't a weakness. It's our greatest strength." The war was over. Humanity had won not through superior technology or military might, but by being exactly what they were: unpredictable, creative, stubborn. Humans who refused to surrender and turned their own beautiful craziness into the ultimate weapon. Earth was free, and the galaxy had learned that sometimes the most powerful force in the universe is the refusal to make logical sense.